Hello and welcome to Manifesting Marvel, a brand new podcast dedicated to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm your co-host Jacob,
And I'm your co-host Raga.
and today we're discussing Loki episode 3, Lamentis. So, straight off the bat, what do you think, man?
I think everyone talking about the episode as a filler episode because it's more of a just not what we expected in like the first one and second one is quite a lot of information. This one is a bit quiet and slow. But I think I find it very interesting because you get to know what the female Loki is
Mm,
and what she is, and there's a bit more story to that, and also a little bit more about Loki as well. And then it's kind of setting up something bigger, or is something kind of going to turn around to a different direction, and they need that kind of U-turn kind of episode where they have to just kind of slow everything down and then kind of turn the attention to something else.
yeah.
So I think I find that quite interesting episode, but I would say probably the least favorite of mine. But
Okay. Okay.
yeah,
I
still a good
actually
episode though.
really
Yeah,
liked it because I appreciated the like going to a new place. I thought the visuals were pretty cool, and obviously probably one of the big things online, like one of the big reveals for this episode is that Loki is bisexual and gender fluid. And it was
yeah,
cool seeing like the cinema like photography of it being that blue and red and purple kind of thing. It was very cool, and I appreciated that. And I thought it was nice to see somewhere else. And it's always cool seeing a moon explode. I mean, I love seeing
yeah.
crazy visuals like that. And the Loki theme tune is really, really growing on me. Every time I hear it, like the dun 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 dun, I'm just like, yeah, this is awesome. Like this is totally awesome.
Yeah, I think that should be my phone ringtone
Yeah,
soon.
it should be my
Just
alarm in the
having
morning. That would get me up
yeah,
every day. I'd feel epic.
uh, definitely. It's just pump you up really well, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
when you're starting up the episode as well. And so, what do you think about the start of the episode the songs and
Yes. So it obviously kicks off with Demons by Haley Kayoko. And
yeah,
it's interesting because the song comes on, and Marvel are really good at doing this. Like they're really good at picking like songs from like pop culture and stuff and putting it at the beginning of the Marvel like intro. Like you don't always need the Marvel music
yeah,
because is it like Iron Man 3 where it's like I'm blue, abadi, abadi. And
yeah.
like it's cool when they
What
do
what's
that.
your like a favorite Marvel movie with a
Ooh,
good soundtrack? You would say?
it's probably got to be Guardians, right? Because Guardians has just got like the biggest soundtrack.
Yeah, I think Guardians is my favorite one as well. Like one and two, I think I still got them in my like Spotify. I listen
Yeah.
to them now and then. I think it's a good album to. I know it's a mixture of artists, but I think it's a good album to listen to.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I actually did have the Avengers Endgame album because when I was working out, because there was like 3 songs on it, and it's like around where it's like the Endgame fight, and it's like it just pumped me up every time I listened to it. I was like, I could just carry on running.
is that what you do? Just three songs of workouts,
Yeah,
and that's it.
yeah, just
And
three.
50 minutes,
Yeah, just
about
stick them on
9 minutes.
repeat.
Yeah,
Yeah, in
yeah,
between. But yeah, it's interesting because obviously it then cuts to Hunter C20, which was kind of where we had
yeah,
the last episode, episode 2, left at, because she's kind of like, I've told them where the timekeepers are, and everyone was kind of like, oh my god, what's going to happen? But it's interesting because the lyrics kind of play into this idea that there's like demons in your head, and that's exactly what's going on in the scene because it obviously cuts to
yeah.
Lady Loki or I got it wrong for ages. I've been tweeting Sylvia, but it's not Sylvia, it's Sylvie. So
Sylvie.
Lady Oki or Sylvie, and then obviously she's there doing the whole like mind control enchantment thing, and that's really cool because I don't know if you noticed this. Like later on in the episode when she's talking to Loki about how if people have like a strong mind, they
Yeah,
like lose control. If you notice when
yeah,
she's doing that with the Hunter C20, when
yeah,
the Hunter C like when they first start doing it, it's a sunset. But when the Hunter C20 figures out that something's going on, it changes to nighttime. So it's like the
yeah.
environment is changing when she's like losing control, or like it's shutting, like the illusion's shutting off around her. And I thought that was really
Or,
interesting.
or it could be simple as like she's just figuring it out. Oh, she preferred drinking in the
Yeah,
night times
true.
rather than she just because she said like sometimes a bit harder. It takes a lot of time to do it. You have to kind of try a few things. Maybe she's just trying out a few things to kind of get it out, trying to get a bit more settled in.
Yeah,
And obviously, she kind of said like, I mean, later in there, she said they're all variant. So when she kind of talking about, well, I'm kind of looking into her mind, but I have to go very deep. She's
Mm,
kind of going back in her life, kind of like a flip in a book. Like she's just going through and see, okay, this is what she prefer. I'll just go with that one
mm.
and changing her. So it could be that. So she's kind of changing the scene. So we might get to see that
Yeah,
a
no,
few times, maybe.
yeah, no, totally. And then obviously, as soon as she gets the information she wants, it kind of cuts to her quickly looking at the screen, and you see Loki
Mm.
flinching when the lightning's going off, and that's obviously a nod back to like Avengers One when the lightning's going off. And who is it? Is it Captain America? Or is it Iron Man when he's like, "What are you scared of?" And he's like, "I'm not fond of what follows." Or is that Nick
Yeah,
Fury?
I think it's an Iron Man, but I don't know. But I think I remember seeing both Captain America and Iron Man in the scene,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure who actually says it. We might have to go back and watch it
I
again.
actually think it's Cap. I think he goes, "What? You scared of
Yeah,
a little lightning?" And then he's like, "I'm not awfully fond of what follows." And then Thor lands on it, and then Iron Man's like, "I have a plan of attack," and then he like jumps out. That
yeah,
is an old film. I'm surprised I can. That shows you how many times I've watched that film because I can just like cite it back to you. But obviously, yeah, you get to see Loki flinch, and that's kind of like a cool little nod back to the idea. And then obviously straight into the episode with
yeah,
Sylvie coming back through the teleporter or like whatever it is into the TVA. And that's quite funny because I can imagine when Loki came through that, like you can see, he looks really confused because he's like, I thought we were like running. Why are we like back here kind of thing? But
yeah,
one thing that I found really, really interesting about this is Sylvie's magic didn't work either, right? And like Loki's didn't.
yeah.
And I just randomly had this thought today. Maybe it's like a witch or something could be involved with the TVA, like one of the Time Lords or something. Because if you remember, even in One Division, I can't remember the name of the villain now. I'm gonna, damn it, I can't remember what the name of the
No,
villain
you
is.
put me on the spot now.
Yeah,
Like probably one.
Agnes,
Agnes. Yeah,
yes, Agnes
yeah,
the witch. So
got that.
you know
Yeah,
when she goes, "You can't use your magic here. I've done my spells, and there were the ruins everywhere." Maybe there's
yeah.
like some form of like ruin or something at the TVA, and that's what's stopping everybody doing their magic. Like maybe someone is well equipped in magic and has put that there so no one else can use magic, kind of thing.
It could be. It could be all superpowers. I don't. But then that mean how come all the Infinity Stones are not working in there? So
True.
like if it's a magic and all the stones are not magic, I believe, because they got different powers. So um, it could be one of the things that could, but also you seen like soon as she enters, like she tries it. That mean that she actually never been to TVA before,
Mm.
or she has, but she never get to use it.
That's a very good
And
point.
this is like the first time she kind of coming in and realizing it. Oh wait, but also like when Loki trying to do his powers, we don't see any sort of like energy source or anything coming out of him, any sort of colors or anything popping out. But when she tried it on this soldier, like Minuteman, that you could see a little bit green coming up, but it wasn't working.
Yeah.
So maybe he has more power.
She interests me, because even when
Yeah,
she's talking to Hunter C20, she seems like a scientist. When she's talking about like brain freezes and like explaining like
yeah.
the synapses going and stuff, it's like, have you like somehow like figured out how to do magic like a different way, or are you just doing it the traditional way kind of thing? Because it's like you're saying, she's very smart, and she like when she does it, there is a little bit, but it just doesn't work kind of thing, and it is weird.
Yeah. Yeah, it goes to show like maybe it's just a limited, the power is limited to certain entities, and some people can use it. So you could say like someone actually controlling the magic in there and try not
Mm.
to use them, try not to use, but they could use their magic, but there's already magic in there, so it's not working.
If you had to like make a bet, like a random guess, where do you think the TVA is?
Oh man, I think it's just in some little bottle in
Some like
someone's
pocket,
table.
yeah,
Yeah, pocket. I don't know. Like it's very it's black. Like there's nothing in there. There's no star system or anything I've
yeah,
seen, or I may have seen it, but there's nothing in there. It's just open. It's like in a box.
yeah.
So it could be any.
I was trying to like dive through Reddit today because I was like, I'm just gonna see if what people are thinking about the
Mm,
TVA kind of thing, and somebody was saying One suggestion was that maybe it's in inside the Soul Stone because all of the magic and everything, like all of the time portals and everything, they're all orange, and it's all like kind of a nod to the Soul Stone. But I don't think it's in the Soul Stone. And then somebody else was saying that it's like exists in a pocket outside of time. And then one that I saw that I thought was actually really good, and this could actually be a contender, was somebody who was saying that if you look back in Endgame and in Ant-Man and the Wasp, quantum energy is orange, and it
Yeah,
looks like that's what they're using in this. And if you remember in Ant-Man, there was a city in the quantum realm, and somebody was saying on Reddit that the TVA might exist in the quantum realm because it's outside of time and they have access to all the timelines. Because it's kind of like Ant-Man was saying when he was there, he fell out at a different point. And I was like,
yeah.
that's not a bad shout.
That's a good theory as well, to think that it could be in a quantum realm, and then it could be because I think the stories are kind of in Ant-Man. Obviously, is going to go back to it, and
Yeah,
then we see Kong the Conqueror that is going to be there, and so it could make sense that because he's kind of linked to TVA as well
yeah.
through the judge. So I believe like yeah, that theory is more likely that could actually take place.
And then it would also make sense for like how they can kind of come and get you because the quantum realm you can kind of pop out anywhere. Do you know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah.
very easy when you're in there to like pop out anywhere to take someone.
I
But
know they do time traveling, but it's a I mean, how they're using their energies is different to what I mean, at the end game, the way they use it, they don't need anything. They're just traveling in and out without
yeah,
having any sort of like was it pin particles?
yeah. But maybe
That's
that's it.
what.
Maybe that's it. Maybe they just have because like I swear at the end of Ant-Man 2, aren't they collecting like more or something? He's like collect them there. He sets off those bombs. So
Yeah.
maybe there's like an abundance there. So it would make sense to like have your like base of operations there where there's like an infinite source kind of thing. But
Yeah.
yeah, I saw it on Twitter and I was like, that deserves a shout out because on Reddit even because I was like, that's pretty interesting. It could be a nod to something. But
Yeah, I mean, I can't recall, but in the end game, do we see when they go to like 2011 and 2014 in the different planet, do we see how they come into that scene?
they flash, but you don't actually see. Like
Yeah,
it shows you like the street, doesn't it? And there's a flash, and then they're walking down.
yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah, yeah. Because I remember maybe there's something in there we could look into, but yeah, if it's just I think it's just a white flash. I think.
I think it's
Yeah,
actually the same like what Ant-Man does, kind of thing. When he goes small, they kind of just fall
yeah,
through reality and then come back out. But yeah, so then after that, Loki obviously follows Sylvie through the TVA, and this bit's really cool because you can tell that like Loki's torn what to do because like part of him is like he's really curious and he wants answers of like who this person
yeah,
is she like a female version of him, what is her life being like and stuff. But then at the same time he's probably thinking, well, I don't need to bring you in because you're here. And if I do it, I also get to see the Time Lords too. Do you know what I mean? Because there is always that little bit of mischief where you don't know like who he's gonna side with, kind of
yeah.
thing. Because like I do feel sorry for Mobius. I'm not gonna lie. Like when he did Mobius over last episode, I was like, no, the poor guy just wants to do a good job and ride his jet skis.
Yeah, but it's just that's Loki. Like he always stabs you in the back. So
Mm,
I don't think like even if you say he won't, and we seen him time and time out, he do all the good things, but still he's got his own play in there.
yeah,
So like when he's came to rescue all the people in Asgard, like he wanted to be their king or he wanted to take over, and he feel like everyone would like him because he's saving them,
yeah,
kind of thing. So he always have that selfishness. So as soon as like he went followed Sylvie, that we could see that he wanted to find the answers.
yeah,
But at the front of that gold elevator, there were the lift. They were waiting for him. You could like they were fighting. You could see that he just deciding, oh, what should I do?
yeah,
Like, should I just hand her in, or should we just and also he didn't feel like the TVA was happy with him as well.
yeah.
So he just wanted to escape. So he just kind of like,
Fell
I'm
through the
out of
cracks.
here.
Yeah. You know
Yeah.
what? It's now that you said that, I wanted to mention this. That gold elevator shows
Yeah.
up again, but in something that we haven't seen yet. So like there is, like when the first trailers came out for Loki, you know, there was like those like dark caves and he's fighting somebody.
Yeah,
That gold elevator is there. You see that open up and he comes walking
yeah,
out. So I have a feeling that's where the timekeepers are, and it would make sense because like the elevators seem super confusing. So like I'm guessing on one of the floors that's where they exist, kind of thing. Because they both seem to be walking around in this cave thing looking for something, and it looks really confusing. But
yeah.
it's
And
interesting.
also remember, like he walks around with like a Asgardian kind of building where it's dark and purple.
Yeah,
So I feel like it could be down actually. Um, yeah, it could be that he's actually in the planet that he's in, Lamentis. So that's what I thought because they're all purpley.
yeah,
So it could be that, but also I'm thinking it could be just go through that lift and he will kind of ended up there. But that mean that is it is a planet because everything else outside is hanging in the structures like more 80s and 70s theme, I believe.
mm,
But then it's kind of going into like a rock cave kind of place. So I don't know where it's actually based. So it cannot be quantum realm where it's actually you see rocks and
yeah.
other materials.
True. No, that's a good point.
Yeah,
That's a good point. Um, And then obviously they Loki transports them both to Lamentis One, which
yeah,
if I'm right in the comics, is like on the edge of Kree, kind of like colonization in space. I think it's like one of the planets, like
yeah,
it's like a
that's right. Yeah,
glorified mining planet or something. But
yeah,
another interesting thing, which I could also be wrong with, but I think Lamentus in Latin is like remembering. And that's quite a
yeah,
big theme in this episode, especially when they're on Lamentus, because all they're talking about is their childhoods. And it's really
yeah,
interesting to like see them get different childhood upbringings, but kind of end up being very similar. It's kind of like that thing that me and you were saying, where like no free will actually exists and everything's predetermined, but like
yeah,
you'll both end up being the same person, even if you have different experiences, because you're always meant to be that person and like that reality kind of thing. But it's interesting hearing
yeah,
them talk, isn't it? It's cool to see Loki actually like bond with someone even though it's himself. It's kind of a little bit awkward. It's like if anybody watches the boys like in season 2 where he's like makes love to himself or whatever happens in it,
yeah,
but it's kind of like that a little bit, because it'd be like, imagine dating an alternate version of you. Well, I know they're not dating, but like they have that moment kind of thing, and they're like, it's just cool to see him actually like wearing his heart on his shoulder for once instead of like scheming. Do you know what I mean? Obviously he is scheming, and they're like trying to
yeah.
like see if they can
It's
trust each
definitely
other,
in there.
but it's cool to see
Like,
him like sing and open up and talk about like his mum and stuff, because usually he's kind of just like, I'm a god.
yeah, it's like you're traveling to A to B,
Mm,
and they ask like, let's say you are the person is A, but you're traveling to A to B. They just want to know how many ways you could get there.
yeah,
So if your timeline is like one straight, and they just want to find out how many ways that we could get to that
yeah,
place by, like, let's say male version of this person, female version of him, a kid version of him, and see how they all get to this place, or who's gonna get there first.
yeah,
It could be a race, it could be a rat race that who will get there, get to be the Eternals or whatever
mm,
that we see like a most powerful, maybe. But it goes to show that that's why they all had a similar background story. They all adapted, and and it's good to know that even though they're different variation, but they all have the similar background. So it's like a Spider-Man as well.
yeah,
You see, we've seen three different Spider-Mans, and they all have the same story. I know they're from same studio, but it's three different time.
yeah,
So that's how the multiverse could actually work.
yeah,
Just comply together. Yeah, that's New York 1, New York 2, and New York 3.
yeah. Well, if you really want to go down that route, you could also make the argument that there is going to be the best timeline and also the worst timeline. So there's going to be
Yeah.
like an ultimate universe that has like the best Spider-Man and the best Iron Man and the best Captain America, and they never lose. They always are triumphant, kind of thing. But then there's
Or
also
they
one where they always lose.
Yeah, there could be villains. Like we could
Yeah,
see them Captain America actually belonging to Hydra.
yeah,
So we could see that version. I mean, we've seen the little kind of mention in the lift scene at the end game.
Do you know what
But
would be
yeah,
really cool, but I don't think it
yeah,
would happen? In a future film with like the multiverse, it would be really, really cool if we got to see like a version of the multiverse where Cap it goes down Bucky's route and Bucky goes down Cap's route. Like Chris Evans plays the Winter Soldier and Sebastian
that,
Stan gets to be Cap. Just for like a scene. It doesn't have to be a film or anything, but just like an alternate reality
it
where
would be
he
insane.
gets captured instead of Bucky, and then Bucky has to like go through the super soldier serum to break him out of like Germany kind of thing. It would just be cool. I'd rate that.
Yeah, I think it will be interesting to see that, like how that will play out. But obviously, like just too much of scenarios we're gonna ask them, like, oh, do this scene, do that scene, do this scenario, because we all want to see how things will play out. What if? So maybe in what if we might be able to see some of them.
Yeah. No,
But
that's true. And this was something I was going to say now. I wanted to talk about
yeah,
Sylvie and Enchantress and Lady Loki theories because I think last week me and you were saying we weren't sure, but I was kind of being she's Enchantress. I'm going to stand by it because I have something to say. So I know for a fact. Okay, she is a Loki variant. She is 100.
that's your final.
Yeah,
That's your final answer.
she is 100% a Loki variant. But hear me out, okay?
Yeah,
This is Jake's bold prediction, and I can if I get this right, I will lose my mind. I probably won't, but this is Jake's bold prediction. Okay, so she is Lady Loki and she's a variant of Loki, but when all this is said and
yeah.
done, she's going to become the Enchantress, okay? Because
Okay.
here's my theory. In the comic books, the
Yeah,
Enchantress is just a normal girl in Oklahoma, but Loki reincarnates his soul in her, and that's how she gets her magic powers. They could totally go down this route that she is a Loki, and because of like she shares a soul with Loki, because it's like the multiverse kind of thing. They're all similar but different versions.
yeah,
But she's going to become the Enchantress because instead of going back to a single timeline and like finishing her variant off and his, she'll stay in the main canon, but she'll have to change her identity. So like she'll just become the Enchantress. And then here's my prediction. I could be totally wrong with this, but Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, I think
yeah,
it's going to be like a wizard witch film, and it's going to have Loki, Doctor Strange, Scarlet Witch, and the Enchantress all in it because they're all
yeah,
contributing to the multiverse. And you're going to get Loki in like his classic Loki uniform, Doctor Strange in his, Scarlet Witch in hers. You're going to get Enchantress in like her actual uniform for that too. And I think they're probably keeping it under wraps at the moment because they don't want it to like get out. But I have a feeling that they're going to play
yeah.
a big
It would
role.
be on the Enchantress at the end of the
Yeah,
Loki, and then go from there. But you reckon she's actually a Loki variant, but gonna be an Enchantress,
yeah,
not now.
yeah, I think because they keep saying like they keep talking about like enchantment magic, and she keeps
Yeah,
saying like I'm not you. I know she is, and like I think as well because it sounds like her childhood was a lot like more brutal than
yeah,
Loki's. Like she lost a mum and stuff, and like she changes her name, doesn't she, to Sylvie from Loki.
yeah, sure, yeah,
So I think she'll be quite happy to like assume like a new kind of like identity kind of thing because she'll kind of like fall into that role. But I think that's what's going to happen, and it's kind of just a slight adaptation then from the comics. Instead of Loki like reincarnating himself, it's just aspects of Loki in her kind of thing.
yeah. I think it could be because like we've seen, there's no way they could make sense of actual Sylvie, like when she get her powers or reincarnation. I think one of the comics, like where everyone, when the Oscar get destroyed, everyone's souls just kind of goes and follow into someone else's body,
Yeah,
and that's how we get Lady Loki,
yeah,
where Loki goes into, is it Sith? Is
yeah,
it, what's the name?
yeah,
Yeah,
Sith.
her body. Yeah, and then she kind of becomes, he kind of become her, and then he tried to be good, but then he just always do the bad thing anyway.
Yeah,
But maybe he, in this point, he might do something similar, trying to give her, maybe kind of loses her life, and then he will make her
yeah,
enchantress.
maybe that's a good
So
shout.
yeah, so yeah, your theory is it's in there. It's possible, like because we seeing a lot of evidence to that, so it's very possible.
And Marvel, if anything, in Phase 4, or
Very
not even in Phase 4, just Marvel in general, they love an arc storyline. Like they love passing down the torch. Like you see it with Spider Man and Iron Man. You see it with
yeah,
Captain America and Winter Soldier and Falcon. And like I can totally see her like assuming this role kind of thing, even if she plays alongside Loki, or maybe even something crazier. Loki could die. He could be the one that sacrifices himself. And she doesn't
Yeah,
want to be Loki because he was Loki. So she becomes the Enchantress or something like that, maybe. But something like that. I think she'll be
yeah,
around and I think she'll be Enchantress at the end. Or definitely by Doctor Strange. I think that's going to be
yeah.
like a witch wizard film.
Yeah, I think she will find out some sort of origin of her story that she didn't know about, and then she would be like, okay, now I'll go. And it's like a Scarlet Witch that when she got the book and she's just going to a quiet cabin and then studying, so she might do something to
Mm.
that.
And then after that, there's two actual really good nods to One Division. So
Okay.
you've got the one where Loki is trying to explain like what love is, and he's talking
Yeah,
about like the dagger, which was a really like it was good, but it wasn't as good as like when Vision was like, "What is love but grief persevering?" Like that will always
yeah,
be the best line. It's insane. And then you've obviously got the other like little nod to One Division too, which this is something I really like about the new Marvel shows is how
yeah,
they're doing like nod backs to the actual like cultures and nationalities of these heroes. Like it was
yeah,
cool seeing Wanda like talk Sokovian in One Division and see her actual upbringing, and it was really cool in this. I know
yeah,
Asgard is like a mythical place, but it was cool seeing Loki like sing those Asgardian songs and like kind
yeah.
of like embrace it a little bit more because it
With the
does,
glass on the floor.
yeah, because it does get like a little bit like just kind of humanized quite a lot with the Marvel
Yeah,
universe. So it's nice to see them addressing that. It's like you're saying when he shouts another and he throws it on the floor too. Like
yeah.
it's
Another one.
it's cool seeing these series giving them like more cultural like background and like societal background because they even did it with like Winter Soldier and like Falcon and stuff
Yeah,
and like
Falcon. Yeah,
talking about like the
definitely.
importance of it.
I think it's just it goes to show that um I think the pace 1 to 3 it's always about the first few hero stuff, the first Avengers, they build up their story and that's it. Anything else comes after didn't get explored really well
Mm,
unless they have individual movies. And especially with WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Loki, they didn't have their standalone movies or series. So this is like the good time to kind of explore a little bit more into them and then talk about and how they would behave and all that. So it's kind of good that they're kind of keeping that to themselves. Like, well, we're going to explore a little bit more into these characters rather than uh, having a timeline and a storyline to go with it.
yeah.
And especially with the Black Widow coming along, like we could see exploring more into her story that I'm looking forward to. And we'll be doing that talk as well. We'll be
Mm,
covering Black Widow soon, pretty soon
yeah.
once it comes out. But yeah, like it's good to see that they're going back to the origin and kind of bringing up, highlighting all the good things they have or
Yeah.
the things they have.
So well, let's move on to like the last little bit of the episode now. Well, not the last little bit of the episode, but something I kind of wanted to mention to you. This
Yeah,
idea of this whole like scene on Lamentis one, right?
yeah,
Me and you had a little chat before we started recording, and we got a bit carried away, so it'd be worth mentioning it
yeah,
now. But I just have a feeling I could be completely wrong here, but I just have a feeling that none of
yeah,
it actually happened. I have a feeling that when Enchantress or Sylvie went to like manipulate his mind, either she or Loki did it to the other, and that was all like a trust game to see if they could trust the other person. Because I don't think that like they're going like I know it would be really silly to go, well, they're screwed kind of thing. They're stuck on a planet, but like they are. Like there's no way they could get off it. The one ship that was there is gone. They haven't got any power. Like I don't see how they get out of this unless it was an illusion, and it could totally be an illusion. And like the only thing that makes me think that it is right is that one little bit when that building's coming down and Loki
yeah.
turns around and
Look,
like
just
stops
reversing
it
it.
and then reverses it. That's so like weird. It's not normal for Loki
Time
to do
stone,
that. Yeah, it looked like
time
time
stone.
stone magic from Doctor
Yeah,
Strange, right? And like because of that, I just have a feeling that that whole like little bit, something's not right about it. And
yeah.
yeah, I don't
I
know.
think you said is Sylvie's doing to Loki to try and find out whether he's trustable or not. But I feel like it's Loki is just interrogating Sylvie
Yeah, see, it could be
the
that way
best.
around.
And he just got her, and then he just now just when she went to like kind of scan his mind, and he kind of got into her and then went, okay, but by the way, this is not working because he's the one breaking stuff. He's the one
Yeah.
misbehaving he's the one pushing her to the limits, and he's the one. When they got there, how did we get to this place? Or she said we go around, but then he's just like going in there fighting, and he's the one stopping all the buildings falling from it. I feel like Loki's playing a very key role in there.
One thing I will
To
say though, one thing I will say, and I got to say this: if you remember in Age of Ultron, Wanda
Yeah,
does this to
yeah,
Thor, and what does Thor say? He goes, "The witch tried to control my mind, but I'm too strong," and then he literally
yeah.
walks into it. It's the exact same line. Loki literally says, "I'm too strong," and then that all happens. And you
Could
could
be,
make an argument that because Loki's falling around and being the one getting in trouble, he's panicking and actually thinks it's real. Because when it
could
finishes,
be.
he's staring up at the moon, like hyperventilating, freaking out, and she just walks off like it doesn't matter. And it had the same kind of vibes as Spider-Man Far From Home, when Spider-Man walks out the bar and Jake Gyllenhaal like starts clapping and it's all revealed to be a hologram. And I'm just saying, man, there have been too many things
There you go.
recently in the MCU that are pointing towards that way. It's even the same. Like, if you think about it right now, they keep mentioning mental
Yeah,
manipulation and dreams, and it's Doctor
yeah,
Strange multiverse of madness. And all of the people going into that seem to have powers where they could manipulate like nightmares into people.
yeah. I think you just got me on that point where you say like she's the one walking away when
Yeah, she doesn't seem
Loki is
scared.
panicking, making she's making feel Loki like he's actually in the place and this is all happening, and then she's trying to get something out of Loki. But if she actually didn't want it from Loki, why she didn't take him somewhere else earlier? Why she came back to the Timekeepers? So and then like, I feel like whatever she's doing to Loki, it's to trying to what brainwash him or trying to get him onto his side or find out whether he's trustworthy. But you
Yeah.
know, Loki, like he's not that trustworthy. So how's she gonna? She knows that because she's him.
Maybe that's it. Maybe she's tried this
Yeah,
before with previous Lokis because she could have jumped in
yeah,
the past. And maybe she takes them to like apocalyptic events to see that if you're gonna die and there's nothing you can do about it, kind of, or if they think they're gonna die and there's nothing that they can do about it, like, do they do her over or do they do what's right for the mission? Because that's who she needs to carry out the mission, because one of them is
yeah,
probably gonna die or something like that.
yeah,
But one thing that I will say that is really interesting about that too, which I don't know if you saw this, I only noticed it because I left it running and I don't usually leave it running. But the credits for this
yeah,
episode, it was documents on a table of photos of them together on Lamentis. So somebody at TVA is watching them.
yeah. So is it? You mentioned about the promo came out as well.
Yes.
So like, this is my theory.
Okay.
I had is Loki's interrogating Sylvie, and then they just figure it out. Oh, they just missed out the whole like they're gonna die.
Yeah.
So they sat down and they have a chat. There's no way exist. She's disappointed. She walks away. Sat down on that rock, and he comes next to her and sit next to her, and then they have a little heart-to-heart chat.
Mm.
She tells him what's the mission she was trying to do in the TVA, what she was trying to do for TVA. He finds out, and either it's Mobius appear and get them both, or he kind of figure out, okay, she's actually a good person. She's trying to do something good. I should actually help her. But by the time TV arrives and arrests them, both of them.
Yeah.
So I feel like that is how it's gonna play.
Okay.
But I feel like the way you said it as well, like she's the one manipulating the whole episode, and then she's the one making him panic and all that. Also, kind of goes to show that it could be that way as well.
Yeah.
So it's quite mind confusing, I would say. Like,
Yeah.
just
No, I do.
I needed to be a bit more simple for me to go up. Like, look, I'll get it right. I'll get it right because it could be two people doing it to each other because there's both the same characters with similar attributes. Like, they just
Yeah.
hate stab everyone in the back. So
Can I just say as well, like,
yeah,
why hasn't either of them just gone, Hamdall, open the Bifrost, because they're not in the TVA. They're on a planet. So they could totally call him. I know, obviously, and like, wait, he is alive, because this is carrying on from like 2012, so he hasn't died yet in Thor 2.
No, yeah, but the year they're in 2077, he's died.
Okay, true. But someone, oh yeah, and Asgard is gone too. But it hasn't, has it? Because they were showing that's what happens if they take him back to his timeline. So what timeline is he in? Because then he's outside of the timeline, right? So then there has to be infinite versions
Of Hamilton's
of Hamdall and shit. So there should be one that is alive that can go open the Bifrost, or vice versa. The same with her and her, like,
but
Bifrost.
The Asgard timeline ends in 2018, so there's no more after that.
Is that every Asgard timeline?
Yeah, everywhere.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, every Asgard timeline ends Ragnarok. I believe that's why that happens. Otherwise, it would have.
You should just call for Thor and Stormbreaker his way in then, because Thor can do it too. Do you think Loki's going to be ever going to return? Do you ever think we'll see Loki and Thor on screen together again? I don't think it'll be in this series, obviously, but do you think Loki might show up in Thor: Love and Thunder?
I want to. I think there will be like cameos of him in the kind of future version of it. I think it would be too early to kind of put him in next to Thor.
Yeah.
After what happened and Thor's been through, and obviously he's depressed and all that. It would be good to see him, but I don't think it will work out really well. I mean, he died sacrificing himself. That's what Thor believes in. And as soon as this Loki comes in, he's going to stab him in the back. So it's not going to help. Like, poor Thor is going to have to go through depression again.
Yeah.
With a beer and a nuts.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think once Loki's gone through everything he's gone through in his series, and maybe he shows up in Doctor Strange, I think then he'll have had enough of a character arc and done enough growing up that he can probably meet Thor and they can, like, not do each other over, kind of thing. I'd agree.
I think they will eventually see each other at some point before then. I mean, next couple of years with the movies and how things coming out. But I think the next one that coming out with Thor, Love and Thunder, is going to be about himself and him figuring out what to do. So I don't think we will see him in there, but maybe we'll see him in the future.
We are going to get some multiverse stuff though in that, aren't we? Because we're going to get Jane Foster as a female Thor as well, which will be cool.
Yeah, and you think she's from the same universe, or you think she's from a different universe?
I think she'll be from another universe where Jane just became worthy instead of ever dating Thor, kind of thing. But yeah, there's a lot going on in this week's episode, and we should probably call it there. Otherwise, we're gonna blabber on for infinity.
Yeah, we will.
But I can't believe that we're halfway through now, episode 3. We've only got 3 more, man.
3 more episode, and that's it. We got nothing to talk about after.
Well, after that, we're going to be moving through all of the old MCU canon. So if you enjoy our little talks, anybody listening, you got loads to look forward to. And yeah, I think we'll probably call it there. So if you enjoyed this week's episode and you are watching/listening on YouTube, give it a thumbs up and let us know down in the comment section below if we missed anything or anything that we should mention next week that we should have. And then if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, make sure you give us a nice review and follow us so then you can be updated when we post new episodes. And it's the same with Spotify. And you can follow us on social media at Manifest Marvel, both on Twitter and Instagram. So go and check them out. And yeah, we will catch you next week.